Oi there, little Hades. You recognize your uncle, do you not? We've a lot of catching up to do, but first things first. You get yourself out of that dour underworld. As for me, I'll see if I can stir things up a bit to cover your advance. Oh, you think you've a chance in hell without my help, am I to understand? You made a big mistake there, little Hades. Just you watch. Well, nephew, supposing it's high time for the high seas to lend their might once more. Your uncle's offering to shake things up once more. What say you, little Hades? No more dallying about now, little nephew. Time instead we really got somewhere. Good tidings, little Hades. It is I, and I am always here to help. Fear not, nephew, it is I, your uncle, come to wash away your troubles here and now. Just point me toward your enemies, nephew, and they'll become sworn enemies of mine. Let's get you out from underneath the sea there, little nephew. Ahoy, my godly nephew, I've arrived, so set aside your worries and let's drench the dead. Ahoy, nephew, it's excellent to see you once again and in good spirits still. Then come, let's make some waves. Ahoy, little Hades, it is I, the greatest of your uncles, here to aid you in your daringest escape attempt, and I do admire your persistence. Good tidings once again there, little nephew. It is I, returned as ever here to make a splash against your many, many foolish enemies. Ahoy, nephew! I bet you have your hands full dealing with your enemies down there, so let me see what I can do. And I can do a lot. Seems you're getting somewhere, little nephew. Good. But here, allow your favorite uncle to bestow a little boost. Found you down there, nephew. Now let's overwhelm your enemies in a typhoon of godly might. What do you say? Little Hades, have I ever told you I detest the dead? Well, I admit it. I just cannot stand a mortal past his due. So how about we get you far away from all such filth? Agreed? What do you say there, nephew? Ready to get wet or no? Oh, I suspect you are, so let's get to it and dispense some liquid justice. How fares your feud against my crusty elder brother lately? Good? Big Hades, he is disagreeable with all of us, not just with you. So don't you take it personal and stick with me. Looks like you could use the power of the sea, wouldn't you say so, little Hades? Good thing I'm here, so that together we might wash your enemies away. Enough kidding around without me, nephew. I'm here, so let's go bust you out, much like a raging river through a frail little dam. You're looking somewhat stronger than before there, little nephew, but you're much too scrawny still, to be quite blunt. So here, let's fatten you right up. Ahoy, my nephew! I think I've kept you waiting long enough, so then let's go, and break our enemies to pieces like so many ships upon the shoals. I'll have you know the power of the seas themselves is yours once more, nephew. So how about you put it to its rightful purpose and go smash some stuff? Are you perchance in need of godlike aid, nephew? Well, excellent, because I happen to command the sea, and I shall hereby let you take it for a whirl. Who dares to mess with little Hades? You simply point me at them, nephew, and we'll leave them shivering and sopping wet, you'll see. At last, I found you once again, nephew. You eating well and getting strong, correct? I'll help you with the latter category in a moment. Here! The awesome bounty of the sea is yours to do with as you please, nephew. I've mustered forth a sample anyway. Ho, little Hades. I had heard you were preparing to rain terrible destruction on your enemies, so I got here as quickly as I could. I'm not too late, am I? All of us must sail through troubled waters now and then, correct, nephew? Fortunately, navigation is my specialty, so let's be on our way. Your victory is most certainly at hand now that I'm here, nephew, so long as you make sure to take advantage of the absolutely awesome power I bequeath. Oh, have I got something for you this time, little Hades? Something special I've saved for when you really proved yourself. There's nothing stronger than the sea, nephew, neither above it nor below. And if you are in need of further proof, behold, the greatest of my blessings just for you. Why, if it isn't the most favored of my nephews, stuck as ever though you may yet be, we'll get you from there, little Hades. Don't despair. Uncle Poseidon's here. Good tidings, my most favored nephew. All is relatively well, I hope. But hope alone is worthless without action, is it not? So here, let's act together. So, nephew, my honored brother Zeus already has endowed you with his thunderous might. Well, you shall soon forget about all that after a taste of this. Ah, you've received the blessing from Athena there already, little Hades. So careful all the time, that one, but here, I'll help you live a little, just in case. Oh, so you've already heard from Aphrodite, have you, nephew? Understandable. But first things first, now let me add a little something to all that. Hoy, nephew. It's my understanding you've been blessed already by one of my other nephews, Ares. As you can see, not all of us are cut from the same cloth, and thank the fates for that. I sense that you've been marked by the elusive Artemis, correct, nephew? She shies away from most of us, so if she's taken somewhat of a liking to you, great. Whenever Dionysus calls a feast, I'm turning up sooner or later, hear me, nephew? So make room for one more blessing and let's go. Nephew, your cruel father, Hades, he's my elder brother, you know that. Not exactly the expressive type, and never was. We seldomly saw eye to eye on things. I dare say, little Hades, you've some spunk in you. Why, I think you take after me more than my crusty elder brother. We'll get away from that old codger yet. My crusty elder brother Hades must have tried to poison you against us lot. I can imagine it clear as water, nephew. I'm proud that you've resisted his undoubtedly most twisted words. Ah, it seems to me you've had yourself a spot of lady trouble lately, isn't that correct, nephew? I mean the Fury down in Tartarus, of course. You going to let her keep on bossing you around? Ha! I heard you showed that good-for-nothing Fury after all. I knew you'd handle that old crone, nephew. If she troubles you again, you just remind her who's in charge down there. Good tidings, nephew. I've learned that you have managed to get all the way to Asphodel. Fine work. Now you just keep on going. You've come to know your Uncle Zeus by now, correct? Just want to let you know, good Zeus gets very busy on the regular. So you just stick with me. I've always time for you, nephew. Just wait until you see the seas, nephew. My underwater realm is the most glorious of the world's habitats. It positively teems with life, and it's much cooler there than in that sweaty underworld of yours. Aha, you found me, little nephew, strewn among the inventories of that most disturbing river boatman. That means you win my blessing. Well, my plan to get a hold of you via the boatman worked out flawlessly. Harness the might of the sea, then, why don't you? How bold of you to throw your lot in with my relatives instead of me, given the choice there, little Hades. But don't you ever bet against this horse. Oh, now it seems to me your strength outweighs your smarts there, nephew, if you're prone to picking other sides than mine. A word of caution, little nephew. Never turn your back against the sea. And while you're at it, never take up sides against your greatest uncle. Oh, I'm absolutely flabbergasted, nephew. I offer you the finest blessings of the earth and sea, and they're not good enough. Apparently, my crusty elder brother failed to teach you any manners, if you deign to thusly spurn my offerings. But I can teach you yet. Oh, very well then, little Hades. Uncle's going to let you off the hook this time. Just mind your manners next we meet. I must hand it to you, little Hades. I did not expect that you would weather such a storm. I'm mightily impressed. Ah, I can't stay angry. Let us call all that unpleasantness back there water under the bridge. What say you, nephew? Aye, a show of strength like that deserves a commendation, I should think. Although for next time, know my favor's not a thing to trifle with. All right, that's quite enough. I take it you've had about enough of that, correct? You're pretty good. So here, why don't you run along? Oh ho ho, you've got some fire in you, don't you, little Hades? Here, I've just the thing to cool you down, fresh from my own domain. Aha! A show of generosity from my most favored nephew. Your gift is mightily appreciated. I'll just go ahead and add it to the pile. For all the times I'm offered gifts or sacrifices, little nephew, I still always very much appreciate it. I mean, look, I'm grinning ear to ear. Oh, now would you look at that? Is that an offering to your most favored uncle, me? You know what, nephew? I've decided I shall take it. Thanks. Oh, I am positively moved by your affection, little nephew. Though I think I've just the thing for you in turn. Here, I shall transfer it to you. Oh, you look positively in atrocious shape there, nephew. What's the matter? One too many run-ins with the wretched dead before I intervened? Seems to me that you're in dire straits there, little Hades. Why, you're bleeding everywhere. Here, let me try and do something for that. Good tidings, nephew. Smooth sailing, little Hades. Ahoy, my nephew, it is I. I'm ever grateful, nephew. My thanks are just as boundless as the sea. I very much appreciated that. You honor your lord uncle, little nephew. I'm proud to call you nephew, little nephew. That's mighty generous of you. I'm thankful for the gesture there. Think you're going to like this. How embarrassing. I warn you not to trifle with me, nephew. Oh, you shouldn't have done that. What? Ha! There you are, my little nephew. Dionysus showing you the ropes or what? You want a real feast, though, you just stick with me. I'll take my blessing. Go. Now, little Hades, you have met my brother Zeus. He's sometimes known as King of all the gods. Although in many ways he's not as powerful as I, or anywhere as dashing. Anyway, as I was saying, little Hades, brother Zeus is king of all the gods, and the most dashing, powerful, and hey, let's face it, godliest of all. Oh, what do we have here, little Hades? Seems to me that you have company. Well, I'll just leave the two of you alone. My lips are sealed tighter than a warship hull. My, little Hades, you brandish Exegriff, the rail of adamant. That weapon's power was so terrifying that we sealed it away. Oh well, surely its mortal damning secret shall be safely guarded in your hands. Oh, nephew, you've stood against the bull of Minos, have you? Well, I must apologize for any inconvenience there, because he was a living testament to my revenge. Long story, boring really, rather sordid too. Stay strong. Word reaches us that you've come very far indeed, nephew. Striking distance from the surface. You just keep at it like that, and with our help, we'll have you out of there for sure. Little Hades, it appears that you are moving right along, almost at an uncanny pace. I wonder how you got to be so fast. Aquatic exercise? Nephew, how is it you're navigating your cruel father's realm at such a blinding speed? There's only one Olympian who moves that quick, besides myself. Where is he anyway? I have to tell you something, little Hades. My relatives and I, we've been holding back one of our greatest gifts to see if you were worthy. And you are! My aid is yours, so call me if you need anything, especially to smash your enemies to bits. I wonder what monstrosities await you near the surface, little Hades. There's your father's terrifying hellhound for one thing. Ah well, I'm sure you'll find a way to sail past whatever's in your way. Why, little Hades, it is awful murky where you are, but if I'm not mistaken, and I never am, you wield fearsome Stygius. She once belonged to me, you know. Not quite my type, but we sure had our times. You take good care of her for me. Say, what exactly is that very mighty-looking spear I think I faintly see in your possession there? I've not seen a thing like that except on very distant shores. It's almost as impressive as my trident here. Almost, I say. Why, little Hades, there's a certain chill about you, meaning you received an ice-cold blessing courtesy of elder goddess Demeter, correct? Now, personally, I think water's best in liquid form, but who am I to judge? My foster sister, goddess Demeter, despite her stern approach, she often likes to make good sport of me, nephew. Why, here she is right now. Excellently stated, venerable goddess Demeter. I'm reminded once more of your vast experience, though I think we all prefer our oceans liquidy. Isn't that right, nephew? Why, nephew, you've procured the rod of fishing, I detect. Fine handiwork, if I say so myself. Its line is nigh invisible, and causes denizens of my domain to flock to it like mortals to temples of mine. Good fortune with that thing. I'm told a number of the underwater denizens from my domain were captured fair and square through your surpassing skill using the rod of fishing, little Hades. They're yours. I've millions more. Nephew, I'm mightily impressed with your ability to cull those rivers there of all the denizens of my domain. Your crusty father's not entitled to the bounties of the sea, but on my limitless authority, you are. You have my rod of fishing. Now have this. Little Hades. I was certain you'd the wherewithal to thin the ranks of the betraying river denizens who fled my surface seas to your father's domain. I bid you good fish hunting forevermore. Ha! Why, if my eyes do not deceive me through those murky depths, you brandish Malphon. Let me tell you, little Hades, those old gloves have done some dirty work before your time. You bear some sort of splendid-looking weapon there, nephew. Must be another aspect of fair Stygius, my old discarded blade. Never did see that one myself, but I saw many others that were splendid too. Betrayal, little Hades. Of all my nephews, you should know better than this. Or perhaps I should. One of us at least. That's definitely not the choice I would have made, nephew. Because for me to side against myself, why, that would make no sense at all. Nephew, what you have just done is tantamount to spitting in my face. Let me remind you then, the ocean can spit back. You wound me, little Hades, with your callous choice. It's fortunate I'm quite impervious to harm. But I don't think the same is true for you. You know the saying not to play with fire, don't you, nephew? You'll find the same is very much the case with water, too. Again you would defy me, little Hades. I'm beginning to see why your father might be very frustrated indeed having to deal with you. It seems that you require yet one more gentle reminder not to scoff at chances to accept my blessings, little Hades. Now remember this. Sometimes I think surely my nephew takes to heart my strongly worded threats about my distaste for his little acts of treachery, but no. I could have sworn I told you never to take the power of the sea for granted, little Hades. It seems the time for words is over then. Ha ha ha! My fits of anger come and go just like the tides, nephew. Now take this from me and get out of here. Now that was truly finely fought indeed, nephew. And I've a suitable reward here just for you. Don't even know what I was mad about. What can I say, nephew? Sometimes our tempers get the best of all of us. Your fortunate mind didn't get the best of you back there. You weathered the storm there, little Hades, and the sea is once again at peace. And you'll make every attempt to keep it that way, correct? All right, no need to fight about this any longer, don't you think, nephew? Here, take my blessing like you should have in the first place. Now, let's not set a bad example for the family, nephew. We're better than all that. Besides, they've many bad examples as it is. It's likely, little Hades, that you currently reside just underneath one of my boundless seas. Normally, you'd have to be submerged to use this power, but you know what? Close enough! You know I've many vitally important things to do besides lending my aid to you repeatedly, nephew. But all of that can wait. Family comes first. Nephew, why, the seas up here, they're just about as widely feared as your vast underworld down there. For water can be deadlier than bronze. Now, don't lose heart, nephew, because in spite of all your efforts, it is probably the case that you still have a long and painful road ahead. How about we set you up here with some real water power, little Hades? I take it you could use some liquid courage at this time, no, little Hades? How about a swim there, little Hades? A swim that is within the pool of blessings. Now dive in. I'm here, nephew, to aid you in your time of need with this. I heard that you could use the awesome power of the sea, nephew. Go on and make a splash for me, why don't you, little Hades? The treasures of the sea are limitless, so here, you take your pick. What do you say we make some waves, right, little Hades? Don't let the wretched dead dampen your spirits, little Hades. Dampen theirs. Here comes another cool, refreshing blessing for you, nephew. Water can even cut through solid stone with enough time, so you keep at it there. I know that you can do it, little Hades. Whatever it may be. It's darker than the bottom of the sea in there. Are you alive, nephew? The secrets of the sea can all be yours. Eventually, at least. I have just 3 for now. You still alive down there, nephew? Because if so, why this ought to keep it that way. Must get so stuffy in that dreary place, nephew. So why don't you cool off a bit with this? You have a dirty daub down there, nephew, but I can help you to clean up a bit. All that I ask here, little nephew, is for you to do your best, as I would do. Ahoy, and now prepare yourself, for I've a rare treat here, especially for you. I am ever impressed with your will to succeed, nephew, so here, great blessings be with you. You've earned only the very finest of my blessings, little Hades. Why? Why not? If you are ever going to get out of there, only the mightiest of all my blessings will suffice. My favorite nephew ought to have access to my greatest blessings, should he not? Well, nephew, I know that salty Charon can be difficult, but I'm certain that whatever price you paid, you got a deal. Nothing comes freely for the mortals on the surface, nephew, and from the sound of things, it isn't any different with that Charon character. Let me just say, nephew, that money-hoarding boatman best be fair with you, because I'd hate to see anything happen to that little boat of his. This time, nephew, let's really show your father what you're made of. Water! For the most part. Mortals, at least, are mostly made of it. Bet you did not know that. The mortals like to give me thanks for all my generosity, nephew. But little do they know I've been saving up a bunch of it for you. Oh, what happened to you, little Hades? I can tell even from here that you've been beaten like a skiff during a storm. Now, don't go dying on me yet, nephew. You have to live, or else the boon I offer you shall go to waste. Your hated enemies, they almost got the best of you, I fear. But you can still turn it around, especially now that you have my aid. Ha-ha! Just as I thought. No choice at all, correct? A good decision there. Ha-ha-ha! Yes! Well chosen, little Hades. Greatly decided, nephew. Next time, nephew, best not be such a fool. You disrespect the sea, and it is liable to swallow you. Do not forget yourself with me next time, nephew. It's time to make a splash. Harness the ocean's might. Now ride the wave, nephew. Here comes some real water power. You call for my aid now? Have you no shame, nephew? Oh, now you want my help. Ah, I thought for certain you were well on your way out of there last time, nephew. But no matter. We'll just get you on another voyage to the top. Little nephew, why I could have sworn you made it to the surface recently, and yet you're all the way back there again. Must be some sort of terrible monstrosity preventing your way out. My oceans, they are filled with danger, not just water, little Hades. Any of the dead you face, they met their mortal end at sea and not on land. Last time your father and I spoke, he told me I was all washed up. Can you believe the nerve of it, nephew? Why, he took the words right out of my mouth. Aha! I sense you have in your possession that fine shell I sent you, a little gift plucked straight out of the sea. You keep it close so I can better track you down. Say, is it me or do you bear your father's ancient spear, nephew? I always wanted one a bit like that, and now I have one even better. Ha! Say, word has reached me that you squared against one known as Theseus, now champion there in Elysium. He was a handful even when he lived. So much so that my honored brother Zeus, he took to calling him my son. Can you believe the nerve? So, little Hades, doubtless you have seen that we upon Olympus also lend our favor to the mighty Theseus, who bars your passage from Elysium. Now don't you take it personally there, because our blessings go to all who deserve them. Although we try to save the best for you. That scoundrel Theseus, apparently he earned himself some sort of winsome prize for all his blustering there in Elysium. Though I'm quite certain that no matter what he and his bull friend have at their disposal, you've the power to defeat them utterly. So go do it. Surely I'll get word. Ha ha ha! I knew that I could count on you, nephew. So the ungrateful Theseus, the winsome prize he earned was just some chariot, correct? And he was vanquished on it anyway. That's what he gets. Boasting his prize was greater than any in his mortal days. Puh! Ah, nephew, but you needn't shower me with offerings and praise, you know. I have no need of showering at all. Not when I've the sea itself to do with as I please. I thought I told you, nephew, not to make such offerings to me. I probably forgot. Or getting you mixed up, perhaps, for I have many other nephews, thanks to Zeus. Though between us, I don't like any one of them as much as you. Oh, but isn't this a kingly offering indeed, my little Hades? I know how difficult it must have been to get, so distant from Olympus as you are. I'll never understand how come your father's cruel to you. For if you were my son, I would be proud. Proud anyway, but you get the idea. If you should ever make it here, nephew, know this. I shall be pleased to stand in for the father figure I can tell you never really had. We can engage in all sorts of aquatic competitions, solve riddles, visit the sea nymphs. Oh, it would be great, wouldn't you think? As you can see by now, we are a big and clever family, little Hades. My niece Athena here being the cleverest of all. You'd never know that she was childless the way she looks after and cares for all of us. Exactly so, Athena, you with that fine memory of yours. For it isn't every day I learn my doleful brother Hades sired a fine son. He does not know how good he has it there. And you, nephew, could have it even better here. Now, little Hades, you must know by now I've other nephews here, don't you? For instance, Ares comes to mind, the god of war. Some mighty wars have taken place at sea, is that not so? Perhaps if you were not so odd and made more effort to be somewhat more approachable, Ares, then we'd have more in common, you and I. Should you need any tips on that, why, you just let me know. The thing about me, nephew, is I get along with everybody here, A skill apparently that's rather rare. Take my niece Artemis, for instance. Can't ever take a simple jest at all. You won't easily attract a mate with such a sour look about you, girl. Ha ha ha! See exactly what I mean, nephew. What's this, nephew? Why isn't this a note? Or part of one addressed to me, but it appears there should be other pieces for the others here. Ah, it's like a sunken treasure then, which means I must seek its mysteries at once. You know, nephew, I had a positively raucous time down there with your old father, and Persephone was she a sight. I never thought I'd see her again. So then we're one big happy family at last. But you've a job to do, and we upon Olympus will do our fair share. I'll tell you, nephew, I was quite taken aback to learn Persephone, she was your mother all along. Just disappeared up here one day. Ran off, I figured, as she's got some mortal blood in her. But she was with your father. That rascal is my brother after all. All these river denizens you've caught, little Hades, it can only mean we share a deep connection, don't you think? I with my power over the entire vastness of the seas, and you with the power to ensnare a hapless fish with but a flick of the wrist. Oh, Artemis, you needn't boast a little Hades there on my account. Besides, whether you're in the sea, above it, or beneath, makes little difference to your measure as a god. You two are young as yet. Keep at it, and you'll soon be practically as great as I. Your good mother Persephone, she's here all safe and sound. Thought you should know there, little Hades. Shame you can't be here with her too, but doubtless we'll someday meet again. So how is crusty old Hades faring down there of late, nephew? Fewer worries there upon his brow? That underworld of yours all running smoothly and all that? We'll keep on pitching in from over here. Least we can do. Persephone, she says you're really stuck down there, born of the underworld, something like that. Well, if you ask me, that's no kind of attitude to have. You can do anything you set your mind to, nephew. Take it from me. If you do ever get the opportunity to spend some time up here, nephew, oh, I shall take you on a grand tour of the surface, from the depths of my seas to the height of Olympus. Sure, maybe not today, or tomorrow, or even the next eon, but sometime we should go. Been nice to see my brothers getting on again, just like old times. Well, not exactly like old times, and come to think of it, there always was a bit of tension there between those two, but still, it's better than before.